Let's do a mastermind brainstorming session together. I'm going to quickly discuss 18 lead generation methods. Hopefully, some of these ideas will trigger ideas for you. Put those ideas in the comments to help others. I'll include numerous cards along the way where I've done in-depth videos about the subject matter. Also, you can find those links below in the description. Hi, I'm Randy Kirk, and this is Small Business Daily. And today we're going to be talking all about lead generation. We're going to start with cold calls. You know, those in-person or on the phone calls that are the fastest way you can possibly grow your business, and they also have the highest ROI. If you haven't tried cold calling yet with your business, if you're a new business and you're kind of afraid to go out and make those cold calls, or maybe you're afraid to get on the phone, you just fear the rejection, or you fear that it won't work, or you're just not confident enough to make your presentation, I got to tell you something. It is still the fastest and undoubtedly the highest return on investment thing that you can do to grow your business quickly. And the customers that you'll get from in-person or on the phone cold calling will oftentimes be way better than the ones that you get through any other lead generation approach. So put some comments down below. Do you do cold calling? Would you consider doing cold calling? What's holding you back from doing cold calling? Okay, that's number one. Let's go on to number two. It's a close cousin, and that is networking, or face-to-face or online networking with other people that are in business and could be your clients or prospects. Well, face-to-face is back. COVID is almost out of our way now, and a lot of organizations are getting back together in face-to-face settings, but there's still tons of online opportunities as well. So if you want to go face-to-face, there are, in most communities, there are many organizations that you can join. There are organizations that specifically do networking. There are business referral groups like Team or BNI and others. Just look up business referral networking groups, and you'll find multiple opportunities near you to join such a group. I recommend you get into groups that have between 11 and 35 members, and that have been around for a few days, not somebody that just started last week. Although sometimes being at the ground floor of a group like that can actually be excellent. Another kind of group you can get together is in a chamber. There are also commonly city government kinds of things that are going on, where the city is designing committees and groups for doing various things. The federal government and state government commonly will have also some kinds of organizations for small business people that you can be a part of, and these can be great networking opportunities. Online, I've mentioned networking after work and other groups, and those will be linked below in the comments. And also, there should be a card up here that is giving you another YouTube video we've done on the subject of networking with more details. So if you're a member of a group like that, or you've been thinking about joining a group like that, or you have other suggestions that are related to networking, whether online or in person, please make comments down below that'll help other folks. The next way that you can do lead generation is through online search. Are you visible online? No matter what level you are now with regard to online search, you can help create way more leads if you become even more visible. There are so many ways that you can increase your visibility online. Those might include search engine optimization. There'll be a card right up there right now about Google My Business, and we've done some conversations also about Yelp that are back in some of the earlier videos that we've done. Please find ways to get yourself highly ranked on Google My Business. We've just done a series of 6 videos on that subject. We have videos on our website, freebusinesshelpnow.com, that have many additional suggestions. These will be valuable resources for you to be getting more and more visibility online. The more visibility, the more leads you're going to get from online resources. Obviously, you can use SEO to improve your website. That'll potentially bring you more leads. You can use SEO to be found on Yelp and City Search and all kinds of other directories and association directories, local directories that might be in your city, your Chamber of Commerce, Better Business Bureau, etc. So using SEO. Next would be using social media. I always recommend that you at least become an expert in one area of social media. Facebook probably is still the most important, but maybe your products and services lend themselves more to Instagram, maybe a younger crowd, or TikTok. Possibly it's more related to things that are colorful and beautiful. That might be on Pinterest. Become very good at some particular way of doing social media. Oh, obviously, if it's business to business, LinkedIn would be your methodology. Okay, you might also use YouTube. I have a video, it's up in the card here, or you can see the link below about how to get started doing YouTube like I'm doing right now. You can become a YouTuber. It's not hard at all, and it doesn't cost hardly anything to get started. And similar to that, you have blogging. Blogging has been around for a very long time now, and there's a bunch of different ways that you can get started in blogging. Look up how to become a blogger on search, and you'll get plenty of people trying to help you do that. Also on YouTube, how to become a blogger on YouTube would also be a great way to learn more. The next area where you could go, oh, do you have any ideas about SEO, social media, YouTube, blogs? Please help out everybody else by putting that in the comments. That'll just be a help to other people that are coming and using this resource. The next would be pay-per-click, whether it's Google pay-per-click, whether it is using pay-per-click on Yelp. You can use pay-per-click on things like Zillow if you're in the real estate business. Whatever business you're in, there's almost certainly some place where there's a specific pay-per-click opportunity for your category of business. If you're in the trades, there are multiple places that you can go to get set up for using pay-per-click to get more opportunities. There's a couple of benefits to pay-per-click that most folks don't think about. When you're using Google pay-per-click and you're sending people to your website, that's going to give you more traffic on your website, which is going to increase your ranking on the website. If you're using pay-per-click on Yelp, that's going to increase the traffic to your Yelp listing, which is going to increase your ranking on Yelp. This works pretty much across the board. So that's one benefit of using pay-per-click most folks never think about. So do you have any other ideas about pay-per-click? Please put them in the comments to help others. Another method would be to use seminars or webinars. If you're doing live seminars, you have a lot of opportunity, a lot of methods for getting folks to attend your seminars. You can send out emails to an existing email list. You can possibly do the seminar in such a way as the chamber will mention it. Maybe your local radio station has a website where they mention local seminars. Your television station, your newspaper, if you still have a newspaper in the area, they may be mentioning seminars. If you do it at the library, which is commonly free to use their facility, they may put up a posting on their website or in the library about your seminar. So there's a lot of offline methods for getting people to seminars. Whether you're doing a seminar or a webinar, you have all of the online methods that you can possibly think of for getting people to come to your webinar. Either one of those methods, you end up producing a webinar, which you can record at the same time. Once you've recorded it, now you can use that material, the webinar itself, as a piece of content that you can use on LinkedIn or Facebook. Just go on down the line. So that's another method for lead generation. Have you produced any seminars or webinars? Has that worked for you? Do you have ideas or suggestions that you might put in the comments? A fantastic way to generate leads is trade shows, whether they're national or whether they're local. I've attended about 350 trade shows in my life. I mean, set up a booth and work the booth at national trade shows, even international trade shows. And I will usually go home with a huge stack of business cards, or now, of course, electronically, you're scanning people's badges and you're getting a lot of information about them to take back. If you're doing a local trade show, whether that's in a city or a county, or possibly it's just a farmer's market. A lot of people use farmers markets to use to attract leads. One of the big issues with attending these kind of shows is that people will get the big stack of cards. This is also true of networking events. They get the big stack of cards or all the information about these folks that come to the booth, and then they don't do anything with it. The key, of course, is the follow-up afterwards. I think that enough said. I think you already know that. Okay, the next place you might get leads will be traditional advertising. Wow, what about traditional advertising? Well, you know what? There are still a bunch of newspapers out there. There's magazines, believe it or not, still a lot of very popular magazines. There is outdoor advertising, whether that's billboards, that can be automobile wraps or wraps on your trucks. That could be bus bench ads. That could be signs in the front lawn of residences that you're doing work for that resident. There's a lot of ways to do traditional advertising that still work. Mailings, they still work. There's a bunch of different ways to do mailings that are still very effective. So don't forget traditional advertising and traditional local methods for getting leads that you may think are all hackneyed and outdated, but no, they still work. Have you been using any kind of traditional advertising and marketing that has been working? Please mention that in the comments. The next idea is to use email blasting. You might already have a list that you can email blast to. You also have past prospects, which is another method just for picking up the phone to call past prospects that maybe have never done business with you. It's possible to use past prospects that have never done any business with you, or to go back to old customers who haven't done business in a while, or maybe they specifically said they were going to stop doing business with you. Things change, buyers change, people change, owners even change. So having those folks on an email list is one way to reconnect. In addition to that, you can buy lists. If you buy a list, Constant Contact and AWeber and others are not going to let you send out to that list of names. You can always risk it. If you get too many bounces, you could lose your relationship with Constant Contact or AWeber as a result. But you can send out a list over your own email account, say 10 or 15 at a time, to quote unquote clean the list. As you send those out, you might get some bouncers, you might not get bouncers, but you can take the ones that don't bounce and eventually incorporate those into your Constant Contact or AWeber, and you're pretty confident that you're not going to get a lot of bounces. If you really want to clean it, send out 2 emails to each of these people before you move them over to one of these systems. Another method you could use is to get some sales reps working for you. That'll get you some leads. Commonly, when you hire sales reps, now when I'm talking about reps, I'm talking about people that are multi-line reps that are already calling on your customers. When you hire a multi-line rep, that individual is already going to have a bunch of contacts, a bunch of leads that they're going to go out and talk to on your behalf. If you hire a brand new rep to work for your company, they're working for you, or a salesman or salesperson who is working for you, then that individual is going to go out and start generating leads. They'll probably be doing a lot of phone calling or going out in person, or possibly you're going to work together with them to generate leads, but they're going to go out and they're going to be sifting through the potential market out there and generating leads. Maybe you've thought about hiring reps, but you've just never really actually, said, okay, let's go do that. Maybe you have. Maybe you're using reps and you've had a bad experience or a good experience. Help us out with some comments below. Remember, this is a masterminding effort here. We're trying to get everybody engaged and figure out what are the best ways to get some great leads. Another way you could go would be industry lists, association lists, and paid lists, not for email. You might be using those as the way that you're going to send out a letter, or you're going to have somebody on the phone making cold calls, or possibly you're going to have somebody go out and generating the in-person cold calls. There's a lot of different ways to use industry or association lists in order to generate business, but they are one more resource that you can go to in order to get leads. Have you ever considered the idea of speaking? Public speaking is a great way to get leads. So you can do this locally. If you're a local business, you could get set up to where you're giving talks at local service clubs, local churches, possibly the chamber. There's lots of organizations that are looking for speakers. And if you can get on the speaker circuit locally, you're going to make a lot of contacts at these meetings. And those contacts can easily turn into prospects and customers. If your company is national or international, you can get on the national or international speaking circuit. I have spoken all over the United States in the bicycle industry, and I have spoken all over the United States and Canada as a speaker at trade shows and other opportunities. And believe me, that's going to raise your visibility in your industry and also provide you with an opportunity to get people's cards who you can follow up with later after you've given the talk. Have you spoken? Have you thought about speaking? Make a comment, give us some help down in the comments below about how folks that are thinking about speaking could become more effective at getting themselves into the business of speaking for prospecting. Public relations and PR, or press releases, same thing. Public relations and press releases both use PR, and people will call PR anyway. That's a hobby horse, I guess, that I don't need to address here. But so public relations, I look at public relations as doing something to call attention to your company. This can be being involved in a charity. This can be being the president of some organization or being on the board of directors of various organizations, having some kind of an event in the area that maybe people are going to come to, some kind of an event that's going to call attention to your industry or to what you do. Years ago, I put on a big bicycle show and rally in Santa Monica and got tons of people to come out to that show who now knew that I owned a bicycle retail store. That was very many years ago. So PR, public relations, and then press releases. You can send out press releases with regard to an event, or you can kind of just make up an event, new product, anything you can think of that could be usable for a press release. There are both paid and free press releases available online to send out. Goes to thousands and thousands of organizations across the United States that will reprint your press release. So that's another way. Number 15 on our list is cross promotions. Cross promotions. So you're in the ice cream business and somebody down the street from you is in the dinner business and they don't do desserts. So you're going to promote them and they're going to promote you. You both have coupons in store. You both have signs up. Maybe you do some kind of a contest where you're going to give something away as a result of people dropping their name in a bowl that you put out. And so you're doing cross promotions with somebody else in the area. That means that customers who would never have walked into your location, but walked into their location, you're now getting that list, and the folks who are doing the cross promotion are getting the list that you accumulated. Have you ever done any great cross promotions? Sometimes you could do a weekend sale, where a big weekend sale, where you have the searchlights and the balloon on top. I've done these for some of my clients, and you do this big sale. You've got pop-ups outside with your suppliers coming in to help you with the weekend sale. And what do? You also invite some of your neighbors to come to this event, and they're going to be picking up cards. They need to give you any kind of list that they generate as a result of them getting this free opportunity to promote their location. So that's another method of using cross promotions. Number 16 on the list is promotional products and advertising specialties. I was in that industry for 25 years, selling imprinted bicycle water bottles, t-shirts, pens, hats. There's a huge list of possible promotional products that you can use when you're doing events, when you're going to events, when you're speaking, when you are part of a networking group, when you just see a client and you just hand it to them. These are all methods of generating leads. Have you used some kind of particular promotional product that has really worked for you? I mean, you know that you got leads as a result of that promotional product. One of the ways to be sure to find out whether they're working or not is to put a special phone number. You can get a free Google phone number. Just go on to Google under voice.google.com. You can get a free phone number. Then you can use that phone number on your promotional piece, and any of the phone calls that come in that way, you know it's a result of the promotional product. I'm going to go through a list of 16 different lead generation methods. And if any of those methods give you suggestions or ideas or other ideas that I'm not listing on my list, would you please put them in the comments?